Hi everyone! This week we're going to take a break from Mexico in our curriculum lessons and we're going to take a look at PSHCE. We've done some PSHCE work this term already, but it'd be really good just to have a week where we focus on how we can make a difference to the world. So, the first thing I'd like us to consider is what might we need in order to do our best in school. Have a think for a moment about all the things that you could do to do your best in your learning at school. Now at the moment we're not in school, so how can you do your best with your learning at home as well? In a moment I'm going to show you some ideas which I've hidden behind the screen. I wonder if you come up with any of those ideas as well. Take a moment to pause the video, have a think, and after you've thought, we'll reveal some of the answers. So I thought of these ideas. To learn at our best, it's good for us to have a calm, quiet environment. This means that we can take a little bit of time to think, we don't have to worry about the noise all around us, and we can focus on getting the best ideas down that we possibly can. The proper equipment and stationery to complete tasks. If you don't have what you need to complete the task, it can be really difficult for you to do your learning. An enjoyable break time. When you're working, you don't need to be working all the time. I find it difficult to concentrate for a really long time, and I'm sure you're exactly the same. Have something that you can do as a break to break up the routine. People around us who help us. At school, that can be staff and children. At home, it can be your parents or maybe your brothers and sisters. They can be there to help you when you're struggling with something. To feel safe. It's very important to be safe when we're learning. And to have a nice lunch and a proper break at lunchtime. So when you've got your things to do in your spare time, make sure that you take some time to relax and recover from all the hard work that you've done. I'm going to share a story with you now. This story is about Derek. Derek is the penguin we've met before in some of our PSHCE lessons. And Derek's in class with Harold the giraffe and Kiki the kangaroo. And they're completing an art project. I'm going to read a story to you, and at certain points I'm going to stop and ask you some questions to think about. If you need extra time to do some thinking, pause the video so you can do that. Derek's art project. Derek was very excited. In art, they were making a big model of a spaceship out of junk material. Art was Derek's favourite subject, and he was looking so much forward to it. Whether it was painting a picture, making an origami model, building a model out of junk material, or even a sculpture of fruit. Derek started by collecting all the things that he'd need to make his model. Cardboard boxes, egg boxes, yoghurt pots, bottle tops, you name it, he found it. Kiki, who was making a model of a castle, came over to Derek. "You've taken all the boxes and I need some for my model castle. Can I please take some, Derek?" she asked. "No," said Derek. "I'm not sure which one I'll need for my model yet. You'll have to wait until I've decided what I'm using." That wasn't really very fair, was it? How do you think Derek's reply would make Kiki feel? Would she have felt okay about the fact that he wasn't letting her use it? Especially because he hadn't decided which one he wanted to use yet. Why do you think that Derek said Kiki couldn't take any of the boxes? Did he consider her feelings? Is there a way they could have sorted it out themselves without any argument? I'm sure if Derek took a little bit of time to think about his actions, he'd realise that actually he'd be upsetting Kiki by telling her that she couldn't have any of it. At that moment, Mr. Tompkins, their teacher, came over. He had seen what was going on and knew that they needed to sort it out quickly before the argument started. "What's the matter, guys?" he asked. Derek and Kiki explained. "Well, I can see that you want to build a really good model, Derek, but so does Kiki. Can you think of a way to sort it out so that you're both happy?" Mr. Tompkins was very skilled at getting his pupils to try and work things out for themselves, instead of just telling them what to do. Kiki thought for a moment, and then said, "Well, we could go through the boxes together and decide which ones we need." "That's a really good idea," said Derek. "I'm good at making castles, so I could tell you which boxes would be best." Mr. Tompkins smiled. He knew that they would find a way to sort it out. A bit later, Derek's model was looking great. He had stuck some boxes together to make the main body of the spaceship and some different sized yoghurt pots on the top to make the cone. He was just about to do a tricky bit of sticking the wings on, which he was cutting from cardboard. Mr. Tompkins had said that Derek could hold the glue gun to do this, otherwise the wings would keep falling off. Derek was still cutting the wings out when Kiki came over and asked if she could borrow the glue gun to stick the tower on her castle. Of course, Derek replied, but don't be too long. I need it for my wings in a minute. Thanks, said Kiki. I'll give it back to you as soon as I've finished. But she didn't. Kiki spent ages sticking the tower on, and then Harold came over and asked if he could borrow it for his model. Without thinking, she passed the glue gun over to him. It was quite kind of Derek to let Kiki use the glue gun, although he didn't really need it straight away. If somebody borrows something from you and promises to give it back, is it fair to keep it or lend it to somebody else? Should Kiki really have given the glue gun to Harold, or should she have kept her promise and given it back to Derek? If lots of people want to use something, what's the best way to sort it out? I'm sure that Mr. Tompkins, their teacher, could sort it out, but I wonder if the three characters could sort it out between themselves. What do you think they could do? Derek was very annoyed. He was ready to use the glue gun, and he didn't want to wait. He went straight over to where Harold was working. Harold had put the glue gun down while he was fixing part of his model. Derek picked up the glue gun and took it back to his table. Mr. Tompkins stepped in again. Derek, did you just take that glue gun without asking? He asked. Yes, but Harold wasn't using it, Derek replied. I need to do my wings, and Kiki said I could have it after her. But you can't just take it like that, said Mr. Tompkins. You need to ask him if you can borrow it when he's finished, and then wait. He'll probably only be a few minutes. At the end of the lesson, Mr. Tompkins gathered the class together to look at the models. He was really pleased with how everyone was getting on. Do you know what, Year 2? Not only have you learned how to build some great models, but you've also learned some really important lessons about working together and getting on with others. Now we need to tidy up. So can anyone tell me how we can work all of this out together to do it as quickly as possible? Harold, Kiki and Derek smiled. They loved being in Year 2 with Mr. Tompkins. He really made them think about how working together as a team worked, and this made them become better, happier friends. I hope that you found that story quite useful. Sometimes when you're working with other people, it can be very difficult because you've all got different ideas, but you have to try and work really hard together. For your task today, I'd like to see if you can create a poster or write a list explaining what we can do to work well with others. I've given you some examples of things we can do. Sharing, taking it in turns. Lending or borrowing. Returning borrowed items, a bit like Kiki should have done in the story. Thinking of other people's needs. Being patient. Helping your teammates. Listening to adults. And listening to other children. I hope that you enjoy making your posters or your lists. If you want to upload any of your work to DB Primary for myself or Miss Call to see, that would be absolutely fantastic.